Hello, my friends. Today is going to be day 2, and I'm going to start this off by saying I'm going to be doing this next 30 days, truly taking back a lot of the challenges and changes in my life that I have waited on, number one, and number two, the ones that I have realized that I should have probably done quite a lot sooner than I did. Now, getting that out of the way, my name is Isaiah, and I've started this journey to be able to showcase some of my stories, some of the lessons that I've learned in my life, as well as just different things that I truly believe if me sharing it helps others, then I will do it. For so long, I've kind of kept to myself for not just what's happened to me in the past, not just for a lot of things, but I've really chose to keep to myself for almost everything in my life because that's kind of person that I am. I don't believe in really like making everything public or like certain things like that just because I've always been on the more reserved side. I've never been somebody who like is comfortable with sharing every single detail about themselves. So what I'm going to do for these next 28 days, including after today, is I will share a story that has a lesson that I learned and hope and pray that it will help you in anything you are struggling with currently right now. Today's lesson and today's story is going to be about getting past and really healing your trauma as well as yourself as a person. Now, everybody goes through things. Growing up, I'm not saying everybody's life is the same. I'm not saying everybody deals with challenges. Some don't. Some of us are lucky enough where we don't have to deal with certain challenges. But I will share this. Growing up, if I could go back, I definitely would change how I have treated my mom when she gave up everything just to give me everything that I ever needed or wanted. And there were times where, yeah, I was ungrateful. And I realize now that, if I could go back in time, I would kick the living word I'm not going to say right now, but out of myself. The younger version of me would definitely learn a lot of really hard lessons, and I would teach them that. But I realize now that I'm a father, and now that how expensive and how hard things are and how hard my mom had to work to provide for me, I realize now that I will never be ungrateful for anything. There are days where literally if I can get groceries from the store and do certain things, I am so damn happy because I know how far I've come. There are days where whenever I go to the store, even if it's not for groceries, it's for certain other things, I'm so proud that I can be able to pay for them now. I'm so proud of certain things that I'm able to do. And it's not because I'm rich. It's not because I have life figured out or I have the most expensive paying job or any of that. It's just because I'm learning how to budget, learning how to truly invest my time and my money into the right things and not be spending it on dumb things that I don't need or that I would like. I should say, I'm a firm believer in that I have everything that I need. And especially when it comes to my family, that is something that I'll always be grateful for. I didn't grow up with a lot of family. Growing up was quite a bit different for me versus some of the other people that I knew in my life. Some people that I considered my friends at the time, they all grew up with either one parent or both parents, and they had a bunch of siblings. With me growing up, it was always just mainly me and my mom. And growing up, there were a lot of challenges that I faced because I had a lot of questions, not just about, is this a normal family dynamic, but just certain things that I realized I had to take care of a lot of things at an earlier age. And I'm not blaming my mom at all. Don't get me wrong. I started working when I was 15 because I made that choice because I would see how hard my mom would struggle when my mom would get sick. And there was one time where she got really badly sick in middle school. And I remember every single day I'd be stressed out. I wouldn't even want to go to school. There were times in high school where I didn't even want to be there because I know there were days where if she was off that I had to be home, because that was my responsibility. And I don't put that weight on her. I would never put that blame on my mom because my mom is the greatest woman and person that I've ever known in my life. If I could be just a little bit as good as her, I know every single day I would be so proud of myself. And I know that God would be proud of me as well. The hardest thing for me is learning not just from my mistakes in my past, but learning the lessons that I need to in order to be better. The biggest one was when I used to get hurt, I used to lash out and hurt as many people as I could. Whenever I was upset, or whenever I was put down, I'd want to make others feel the same, just so it would make me hurt a little bit less. At least that's what I thought. There were so many things in my past that I did that truly do not define me. The people that were in my past that may have known the person that I was would agree I was not a good person. I had a lot that I could improve on. There were times where I know the decisions that I made, I could have definitely made smarter ones, along with just, there was always the option. Now, something that I still struggle with to this day is going to be really, the right decision never comes easy, right? And what I mean by that is there are times where I literally feel like, hey, like if somebody does me wrong, like I almost want to lose it. But I'm starting to realize that every minute of the day matters. That person, that situation, that thing that happened to you does not affect your whole day if you don't allow it to. I used to constantly wallow in today's a bad day because one bad event happened to me. And it wasn't even really a bad event. It was just something that upset me to the point where I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And I realized I gave that person who's so insignificant, that person who does not and will not matter in my life, that much power and that much control over me, because I let it affect me for hours after. I used to be the type of person that would literally not just take my work home, but constantly take every single emotion home, instead of realizing my home is the only place that I feel safe, that I should feel happy, that I should feel grateful that I could come home to. I used to constantly take so many things home and be so angry and frustrated and take it out on my family that did not deserve it. They did not do anything. And I'll be honest, I still struggle with that even after I became a parent. I struggled a little bit with it. Nowhere near as bad as when I was younger, but I still struggled a little bit. It's taken me years to be able to realize anything that happens outside of my household, I leave outside of my household. I leave literally in the moment, because that person, that situation, that thing that happened is not worth affecting your peace. That is something that to this day, sometimes I struggle with a little bit. But what I've learned is the second that I get home, if I need a minute, I will sit in my car, take a minute, calm down, and then go inside. Because my mom does not deserve that. My daughter, in the very few times that I get her, does not deserve that side of me. The only person that deserves that side of me is no one. Because at the end of the day, that person that caused me to feel that emotion doesn't even deserve my time in order for me to feel it longer than a second. Even if I do, there are times where I'm like, you know what? I have to just let it go. Let it be. I would so much rather enjoy my life, making the most of every minute, appreciating being able to wake up, appreciating being able to talk to you guys, but above all, appreciating having the confidence to do so. I used to struggle really bad with being confident, with being in front of a camera, with just so many things in my life, because I always struggled with my own self-image. I always thought, you know what? I have to be buff. I have to have a six-pack. I have to have the best hair. I have to have like my face shaved. I can't have this double chin. And I realized I was so obsessed with all the wrong things that I lost myself in the process. I kept thinking, okay, people will like me better if maybe I weigh less. People will want to hang out with me if I looked better, right? If I had nicer clothes. So many things that when I was younger, genuinely were so stupid. Like, there's no other way to describe it. It was literally just, there's no excuse to it, but it was me being young and dumb. And I realize now that that person, that kid, is such an ungrateful little just. And as I make sure I raise my daughter in the time that I get her and do my best to make sure she appreciates and knows how hard things are to come by, but I do not wish anybody to struggle in life. That's not what I'm trying to say. I do not wish to teach her the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. I wish to save my family as well as her, so when her upbringing happens, she can be happy. She can choose what struggles she wants to deal with. My goal in being a good enough father is not just being present, is not just showing her the value of everything, but it is truly in being there whenever she needs me. And being available and being able to be that parent, that son that my mom needs is what matters to me more than anything. I want to be able to create content that helps others, whether it's sharing a few stories or one story, or being able to talk about a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. If it means sparing you learning the hard way, that is what I want to be able to do, because that would allow me time back with my family. I do not live in the past anymore. There are times where I do reflect, and I remember when I was left alone, when I thought I had family, when I would move mountains for those people, when I did anything they needed, but anytime I ever needed them, they were never to be found. They were never around. Just when I thought, okay, you know what, everything's gonna be okay, I truly have this person just vanished. And the reason why is when you cannot provide something for someone who just takes, they have no reason to stay around anymore. You're not serving them a purpose. They'll show their true colors. Everybody always shows their true colors. But you know what? I don't fault those people anymore. I don't harbor that anger anymore. I don't harbor that rage or that pain, because I realized I had to let it go. I realized it serves me no good to be constantly jaded, to be constantly angry, to be constantly frustrated at people that are no longer in my life. Those people came and went. They were there because I had to teach myself a lesson, and that is recognizing when I'm doing too much for others versus when they are doing the exact same that I am to them. There has been only one person to this date that I've ever truly been able to say they've done almost as much as I have. And to this day, they may not be in my life, and I may never see them again, but I realized something. That's okay, because at the end of the day, I know they're happy. I know that they're living their life. I know they're doing everything they wanted, because the person that I was, I couldn't be around in their life. I struggled and brought so much of my past baggage, so much of my past hurt. And as I'm still trying to fix myself and be a better person, I realized I could never truly be their friend. I can never truly be there for them, because I know for a fact, in order for me to allow that, I had to let go of way too many things that at the time I wasn't able to. And I realize now, as I'm going through this journey, as I'm learning all the lessons that I am, that I take everything day by day. But that doesn't mean I just waddle around and wait around in the darkness. It means that every single step I take forward is with purpose. It means every single day I hope and pray that I can be a good enough example to my family, to my mom, and to my daughter. Because at the end of the day, blood does not define family. And that person that may not be around anymore will always be family to me. My brothers and sisters out there, if you have suffered loss or been through a struggle or dealt with any kind of hardship, then you should understand this next message. And that is, the hardest thing to do is forgive. But the easiest thing to do is to forget. Now, what I mean by that is, if you've ever been done wrong by somebody who's either your family, somebody you care about, a loved one, and I mean truly care about, not just somebody that you say you care about, but yet if they piss you off, you're ready to leave them at the first sign, right? Or if your family makes you upset, you're like, get out of the car, like we're on the freeway, but, hopefully you don't get hit kind of thing. I mean, truly care about somebody, then you'll understand when I say that person can probably hurt you as many times as they decide, until the day comes where you start valuing who you are. When you start asking yourself, why is every single time I'm around this family member, this person, this friend, constantly, some days are good, yeah, and those are days you want to remember, but then you have more bad days than good, and you ask yourself, what am I doing here? You realize you've been putting yourself through all these different hoops, all this different pain, in hopes that that person will treat you better when you don't even treat yourself good enough to say, hey, this is where I draw the line at. Hey, this is not okay. You have to set boundaries with others. Otherwise, everybody will always walk all over you. You have to establish and command respect from others. Otherwise, no one's going to respect you. But at the end of the day, all of those things don't matter if you don't respect yourself. All of those things do not matter if you do not care enough for yourself. Nothing matters if you do not take a stand and ask yourself, am I worthy of being enough? The answer should always be yes. If you feel like you are not, you need to stop whatever it is you're doing and adjust yourself. If the friends that you call friends in your life are not there or around for you and encouraging you to do better, encouraging you to do more, reevaluate your friends. Ask yourself, are these people really here for me? Or are they here to take advantage for what I can provide? I've had to learn both ways. And I will tell you this, if I can spare anybody that pain, I would love to be able to save you from that. Because the hardest thing is when you put your trust in somebody, when you think that that person is your friend or your family, and they do you wrong every single chance they get, or they wait and until you really need them, they disappear. Those can be the hardest lessons you learn. And my brothers and sisters out there, I pray that if you had to learn a hard lesson, that you are good now. And if you have not, I pray you never have to learn that lesson. There are many other lessons in life that you will have to learn, but that one is something that I wish on no one. That is something that I pray nobody ever truly understands, because it is not a good feeling at all. But it is something that some of us need in order for us to be able to move forward, to move on with our lives, and to really understand what our purpose is and who we are. Now, my brothers and sisters out there, the story that I wanted to tell you may have taken a lot of turns. And that's because there are many stories, but the overarching theme in this lesson and in this day 2 is if you've had any trauma in your past, it does not matter the trauma. It could be mentally, it could be physically, and it can be many other forms of trauma. The main lesson in this is the strongest people do not allow what has happened in their past to dictate who they are. It is not something that you forgive easy, but you may choose to forget it when it's convenient for you. But my brothers and sisters out there, neither one of those are going to be what helps you as a person. You have to ask yourself, what do I need to get past this? What do I need to deal with in order to move on? Because if you're harboring all different types of baggage with what either happened in your past, what somebody did, or what you feel you shouldn't have had happen to you, you will always be unhappy. You will always blame others for situations that sometimes we put ourselves in. And you will always attract a certain type of person if you do not focus on fixing yourself, if you do not focus on getting past what hurt you the most about it, whether it's betrayal, whether it was trust, whether it was a relationship, a friendship, or family. You have to get past it. Not for the other person, not for anybody else other than you. So when you ask yourself if you truly feel you are deserving of everything that you have, you can answer without a doubt, without hesitation, that yes, everything you have worked for has brought you to this moment. My brothers and sisters out there, putting in work is the hardest thing you will ever do. I would rather go and work a 9-to-5 where I shovel garbage all day than really focus on working on myself, because it is not easy. It's not fun when you find out how many flaws you have. It's not a good feeling when you're remembering all these things sometimes you don't want to remember. But above all, when you feel like you have nobody to talk to, when you feel like nobody understands you, it becomes 10 times harder because you feel like you have no one to talk to. My brothers and sisters out there, I pray this video reaches you, and that if you want to share your story, I would love to hear some of you. If you want to comment down below, if you understand any of the trauma, you don't have to spell out your whole life story. If you understand anything, I'd love to hear an amen at the end of this. If you want to comment down below that, or just share a little bit about what you've had to learn the hard way, because sometimes forgiveness is not all what it seems. Sometimes getting past things has to be on you. You have to decide, am I able to keep pushing? And the answer should always be yes, my brothers and sisters out there. I pray you do not quit. I pray you do not give up. I pray you do not give in to despair, because the minute that you do, you allow that other person, that other situation, that other thing that happened in your life potentially take your life. And that is not at all what I want. God has a plan for us all, my brothers and sisters out there. I pray that you are around long enough to see your plan. I pray that you are strong enough to persevere. But above all, I pray that when you watch this, you understand the message. And that is, no matter what trauma, no matter what you've been through, you are good enough. You need to work on yourself and figure out What holds you back? What stops you from getting everything you deserve in life? My brothers and sisters out there, what you've been through does not define you. Find the strength and the understanding to truly get that. I pray that you do, but above all, I pray that you are all good. Thank you, and I will talk to you more all tomorrow. Have a great day, stay safe, and remember, you are more than good enough. You are more than you know. It's great to hear from all you, my friends. Have a good one, and I will talk to you tomorrow.